Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Rudolph, the Extension Vegetable Specialist at the University of Kentucky. Today we're going to talk about the Florida weave. No, it's not a dance move. It is a form of trellising tomato plants, usually determinate tomato plants, to help maintain proper airflow and keep them upright to facilitate easier harvesting. So the first step is you'll need a belt or some form of a belt in order to put the box of tomato twine on your hip and keep that secure so that you don't have to worry about the twine as much and you can focus on properly doing the Florida weave. So you'll attach the first piece of twine at the end of the row to a T-post or rebar or a tall stake, whatever you happen to be using as the structural part of the Florida weave. And you'll tie that usually about 6 inches above soil level. Have a nice secure knot. And then you'll proceed with pulling the twine through the row. So you'll go on one side of one plant and then on the opposite side of the next plant. And we usually put a T-post every 2 plants, and then you'll wrap that piece of twine around the T-post. Usually once is sufficient. One wrap around that T-post is sufficient. Sometimes I'll do 2 if I feel like it's a little loose. And then you'll work your way down the other side of the row. So you'll go down one side of the row and then come back down on the other side of the row. And this just makes it easier to use your dominant hand, and you're moving the same direction, and you can get a nice tight wrap. So you can see you're on one side and then the next side of the tomato plants. And so if you do that on both sides, right, you'll basically be forming an X in the middle of those 2 plants. So again, one side of the plant, the other side of the plant, and so it's the opposite of what you did on the first time down the row. So a nice X, and this just helps keep things upright and sturdy, and you're setting yourself up for success with the Florida weave. And then you'll tie off at the end. And then you'll start going again if the plants are tall enough. We usually start trellising at 18 inches or 2 feet tall, something like that. You could do a little shorter. And then each row of twine is about 6 to 8 inches apart in height. So this next row goes a lot faster. You don't need to do the X. You don't need to make the X. You're just going down one side of the tomato plants, propping them up on one side, and then doing the same thing on the other side. So every subsequent row of Florida weave that you do, of twine that you place, is much easier and much faster. The first one is slightly more complex. And again, you'll tie off. So you can see there's an X in the middle, right? You're going to form an X in the middle, and that keeps the base of the plant sturdy, but that every subsequent row after that, no X is required. It's just straight lines. And that is how you do the Florida weave.